Welcome. Just kidding. Welcome to the Why Dad Podcast. We are your hosts, Paul Wandry and Andrew Stopelstead, and we are on a mission to figure out what it really means to be a man, a husband, and a father. Not as experts, but as guys just trying to figure it out. Learning what actually matters, what's just noise, and how to become the versions of ourselves our families need and deserve. This is a place for honest conversations, real habits, and the kind of growth that happens intentionally. We're redefining fatherhood one habit at a time. And today, Andrew, is one of our beloved duosodes.
It is.
We'll see if we can top our last duosode, where we were proverbially at each other's throats. Maybe not that dramatic, but it was fun.
Friends are allowed to disagree on a lot of things.
Yes.
Take different sides. If you have friends that don't, are they really good friends?
If you can't argue whether the emphasis is on the wrong syllable.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah. So what we got today, Andrew?
well, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff, but where are you going?
I had to get my bubbly
Bubbly.
Mario Galaxy cherry flavor bubbly.
So I got pink lemonade.
Spindrift. Not a sponsored ad.
Not a sponsor yet either. That'd be kind of cool. Have sparkling water company sponsor us.
Yeah. Goes along with the, hydrate your kids with bubbly.
Bubblies. And if you're single, drink Spindrift.
Yeah, there you go. Drink Spindrift before you turn into a spinster. Anyway.
Sip Spindrift.
We better get back on track before I start quoting Mio slogans. Hurry.
I don't think I will. No, so yeah, I got a good topic today. Something that I've been thinking about this week, but I wanted to ask you a question since you changed up the introduction for us. Are you proud of that new introduction we have?
That's a good question. Let me go back. I am satisfied with it. Maybe that's not the answer you're looking for, but I think it's adequate. I think it transmits what we want it to. It sets up. It explains what we're doing. And it satisfies our bare minimum requirements. And we have it, we're slowly doing things to improve it. We've already improved it over the previous version. And I think when we finally hit the final version and we're like, chef's kiss, then I think I'll be able to say I'm proud of it. But why do you ask?
Because that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, was having that sense of pride.
Intros?
Yeah, well, that too. Lord knows I need help on intros. And you know what I mean by that. No, just having that sense of pride and being able to distinguish it from the unhealthy vice-labeled pride. But there is a good pride, right? I think we can agree to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I wanted to talk just like how to distinguish between the two. What does it even mean? And then my big thing is how do you instill that or teach that? Because I'm at a point with the nieces and nephews where it's something that's lacking a little bit in them due to a lot of the trauma that they've gone through. So maybe that has to do with like their own self-esteem and self-worth valuation. Probably that's more of a psychological conversation, but like what we as guys, as men in our kids' lives can do to really promote or say, teach. It's a good thing to be proud of things you accomplish or things you do. Relish in the fact that you're able to accomplish those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I have thoughts roiling through my head. It does make sense. Oh man, we can go so many different ways. We can talk about your nieces and nephews a little bit more. We can dissect that a little bit more. We can talk about, how you view it, and that's probably going to be a good place to start.
Excuse me. I think we should go over definitions learned from last times.
Yeah, make sure we don't go on a long meandering hike.
But this is a very, last time was too. But yeah.
So you tell me first. Let's start I think having the kids is a good example, and And it's going to be the same,
Yeah,
of like as Evie and Liam get older, I'm going to be dealing with that with them. And my dad, with his youngest at home, he's kind of dealing with the same thing, like same, but different. So I think it's visible at various stages of life. And then you probably also have it like Sarah has it with one of her employees at work. It's like to have pride in something, you have to be bought into it. Like it has to be something that you care about, right?
Right.
And then it begs the questions like, okay, well, what should you care about? Should you care about everything? I don't know. But anyway,
I mean, that's
so that's one side of things. But yeah, like for you, yeah, like what does it mean to you to take pride in what you do?
So for me, like the healthy pride is, I'd agree, like there has to be some degree of ownership or bought into something. Like I experience that healthy pride when I accomplish a goal. Like I did this, like something challenging that I overcame. It was like, I did this. Like I didn't think I could. I surprised myself. And gives me that inspiration to like keep going on. Like I'm not saying there's no satisfaction with what I accomplished, because to not be satisfied when you tackle a goal or something, I think there's some natural like, okay, what's next? Like I'm not stopping here. But to take it, gosh, I don't even know how to say it without like saying that the word in, like just be proud, like have that sense of accomplishment, that ownership, that joy, let's say that joy that comes from doing that, relating to ownership, like that responsibility. Like, me, I love my truck. I am very proud that I have my truck and I take good care of my truck. Like it's always I like to do my own maintenance, so like when it's an oil change time, it's getting its oil change at that time, because one, this is my main means of commute, getting around, but it's just like I was able to afford something nice. It was necessary, but the fact, like I got this. I want this to not treating it as something disposable and cheap, I guess. But like there's that, or like I take pride in my work. Like I do a good job at work. Maybe there's some hints of bad pride, but I do a good job because I know I can. And when I deliver a good product for Wells Fargo, like I take pride in that. I may not get the recognition I deserve on a lot of projects, but I know that I did this for me, for my department, for the bank, and that was me, But like I said, there's a little bit of like, you can kind of see like the unhealthy, like, this, me, that. But
well, I mean, I don't think just because I don't know that just because there are I statements and taking pride in something that means it's an unhealthy pride. I think unhealthy pride is taking it too far.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like you can kind of get into, if I were to go deeper down like that lane of,
right.
Like, look how good I am. It's like, no, I'm not doing this for the show. I'm doing this because it needs to be done, and I know I can do it. I'm not trying to showboat.
Yeah.
Put people down.
Okay. I just asked ChatGPT, and it came back with something actually good. It's like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But before we go into that, what is the earliest memory you have where you're like, yeah, I feel proud about that? Like where you first realized that you could take pride in doing something?
Damn, good question. Honestly, like, and you know how weird my memory is. I have like splotches of memories from when I was a really little kid, but and this at the time is like my most vivid memory is when I held my little brother for the first time. Like something in me was just like, I'm a brother now. Like I'm gonna show you how to live.
That's really interesting because like you had nothing to do with your brother being there, but family is extremely important to you, and that is like you taking ownership of your family. Like I didn't choose you, but I choose you now.
Yeah.
And you're my little bro, I'm your big bro, and I'm going to take care of you. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you remember? Well, like, what's it for you?
I think it was about 30 seconds ago when I came up with the question. Okay, so as I'm thinking about it, the reason why I ask this question is because you kind of have to know what the taste of pride is,
Right.
in order to like, it's kind of like a cart before the horse sort of thing, or
Right.
chicken
That's
versus
why
the
I'm
egg
just
thing.
like
But it's
sitting here
like,
spinning my wheels a little bit.
so how do you know like how do you know, like, for example, with your nieces and nephews, like how do you know how to teach them to take pride in what they do if they've never felt it, if they don't know what that tastes like?
Right.
So it's not something that you can tell them or tell yourself. It's something that they have to experience, and then when they experience it, then they can replicate it, as they desire.
Yeah.
So the earliest time, or the first time I remember taking pride in something, I mean, honestly, like, I don't really have a lot of early memories. Frankly, even, I recently had a revelation where it's like, and I don't know if it's taking pride in or if it's just like plain appreciation, but, I'll preface this with a disclaimer that our house is constantly a mess, But recently, the times where we've gone through and we've cleaned and everything is orderly and the floor is vacuumed and it looks and feels good. And there was even like a week or two where like the kitchen counter was always clean, it was always clear, and that's about as long as it lasted. But during that week or two, as I was cleaning the counters, I was like, this is a good practice. And when I was done with it, I was like, this feels good. Like,
Right.
there's reduces stress and anxiety. We know where everything is, and it's just, you feel like you have a certain amount of control in life, in a life where control is so hard to come by. And so I think I'm just going to cheat and give my most recent,
That's fine. I'm not.
as opposed to the earliest memory. But the reason why I'm landing on that is because growing up, I don't think I ever took pride in a job well done, because it was a job that had to be done. It was always a chore. It wasn't something I did for the family. It wasn't my role in the family. It wasn't the part I was doing to be a part of the family. It was a chore. It was something you had to do, and if you didn't do it, you got sent to timeout or you got spanked or whatever. And I'm not trying to bash on my parents. I had a very good childhood and lived in a loving household, and I wouldn't be the man I am today, who I am very proud of, if it weren't for my parents. My parents did the best that they could, and in many ways improved upon what their parents did for them. And that's all you can do. And now I'm trying to improve on what they did for me. So, Dad, if you're listening to this, I'm not bashing on you.
We love you, Jeff.
It's just my name is Jeff. It's just my experience, and so I don't think I ever, and maybe this is more of a me thing too, but I don't think I ever took pride in the work I did around the house. But recently, I've been finding that it's like, this is what that tastes like,
Right.
And now, like, I don't have a habit of doing it, like it lasted for a couple weeks or whatever, but now I know what it tastes like, and it's like, okay, like I do want more of that.
Right. I think, well, like, common example, like, just between you and me, like, we've been doing this a year now, and I mean, you look statistically at like podcasts that don't even make it a year, and we're already top 5% of podcasts for duration.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if I like felt it at that moment, like when it came around to like the year. I mean, I know we talked about it, but to me, like, I didn't really know. I knew what it meant, but I didn't know what it meant. Kind of like what you're talking about with, you didn't taste that as a kid, but now you do. And like now, like, it's starting to hit me. Like, Paul, we've been doing this for a year.
Yeah.
And seeing what it's done for us, just for you and me specifically, where it's taking us.
See, and I think that's maybe now we're scratching on the surface of it. It's like, you're not going to have pride in something that's just like given to you, your brother being one of the rare exceptions, because that speaks to family.
Right.
But like, if you're given a car, unless it all comes down to meaning, like, you're more likely to take less pride in a car that was just given to you for your 16th birthday versus a car that you worked you like 3 summers in a row, you saved every penny and you didn't go out like with your friends so that you could finally buy that, 1990 Thunderbird, I should have picked, I don't even know if they were making Thunderbirds in 1990, but
I think they were, actually.
Okay, good. Yes. Start landed in the dark.
As you can tell, Paul's not a car guy.
No. Oh, but Andrew, you might get outed as my car guy because I just found somebody here in Lakeville who knows a lot about cars.
Hey, let's work for me.
Lakeville. That didn't go as planned. Okay. But anyway, point being that to take pride in something that insinuates or it requires that, you put something into it and then you appreciated the results. So it's kind of like that input-output thing.
Yeah, but why? Let's get back to, like, the chore part.
Yes, I know where you're going.
Yeah, okay, so, like, why is it so hard for us as humans to buy into a task we are given to do every day?
And this is what ChatGPT nailed, because it has to do with how you see yourself. It has to do with identity. It has to do with your personal alignment.
Right.
So for me, doing a chore, that's not something that I bought into. It's not, it wasn't part of my identity. Like, what kind of like I alluded to. Now, if like Stephen Covey, for example, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Good book.
It's been a minute since I've read it, but yes, fantastic book. He talks about getting his son's buy-in with a chore. I mean, a responsibility around the house. So, and side note, there are some families, and I think we're probably going to do the same thing, who they don't even use the word chore because it has that kind of like negative connotation of something that you just have to do. Whereas like this, right now, Evie's a few weeks into feeding the dogs.
Right.
She feeds them in the morning and she feeds them in the evening. And right now we're calling it a job. I don't know, maybe there is a better term for it. But when we talked to her about it and we presented it to her, she's like, this is like how you get to help out the family. This is your part to help the household run well and we all take care of each other, and this is you taking care of the dogs.
Yeah.
So anyway, and sidebar. So Stephen Covey had a similar conversation, and this is what inspired this, but they all sat down at the table and they were like, yeah, so, mom and dad, we work, we bring in the money, we pay the bills, we take care of the cars, we drive around, like, not, pat us on the back, but like, these are the things we're doing for the family. And as a family, we help each other out. And I forget how they guided the conversation, but basically it became the kids' idea to be like, oh my goodness, you guys do a lot for us. Like, what can we do to help out? Like, we want to be a part of this. And they're like, funny you should say that.
Glad you asked.
Actually, and then they open up the chore chart. No. But they're like, okay, great, like, yes. And so they went around and they divvied up things around the house that needed to be done. And the yard was something that got assigned to his son. And what he did was he's like, okay, this is your responsibility. And then he backed off and he just let him do it. And then periodically he would come back and it wasn't getting done. And ultimately, it was because, even though he had like logically bought into it, he didn't fully buy into it. And what Covey ended up doing was, okay, you're the boss because you're in charge of this. You tell me what to do. And it was something like, okay, dad takes care of left side of the yard, son takes care of right side of the yard. But before they did that, he was like, okay, you noted, like, you look at the yard, like, see how it's in a disarray and it doesn't feel good, and like, how else does it make you feel? He was like, okay, yeah. It's a mess. And then they did the work, and then he was like, okay, now take a moment. Now how does it look? It's like, it looks great. It looks clean. It looks better than everybody else's yard. And I was like, yeah, and you did that. And I think that example helps illustrate taking pride in your work, because first you have to be bought into it, but you can't buy into it if you aren't shown how, which Stephen Covey did by working with his son and letting him take lead on it. And then two, it's like, you have to appreciate the end results, because if you don't appreciate the end results, then you're not going to, I mean, it's like, who cares? Who cares? But if you appreciate the end results and you realize that it wouldn't have happened if you didn't put in the effort, then I think that's where positive pride comes into play.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and I forget where we were before that example.
Just getting the...
Because we were going back to chores.
Yeah, like why can't we, if it's something that we end up doing every single day, why can't we, or why are we hesitant to, and I'm not just in kids, like even in our own lives. I'm sure you have some things, I mean I do, where it's just like, after thinking about it, it's like I should be more proud about like this type of stuff.
Yeah. I think now we're in the territory of habits a bit, you know? Like, is it just a habit? And if so, is it an intentionally crafted habit? Or is it just a habit that, like, kind of came into existence by happen chance?
There's that, and there's... Does that diminish if something becomes a habit, like the importance? Because, like, say you have the habit of always washing your dishes after dinner, and, like, to you, maybe you don't take, like, that pride, but, like, to other people, like, since that's a big task and, like, they finally mastered it, like... I mean, I know we're getting into more of a subjective, relativistic approach on things, but, like...
Well, in order to have actually mastered it, that's not going to happen by happenstance.
Right.
They are going to have
like,
intentionally worked.
Like, doing those quote-unquote menial tasks, like choring or whatnot, you know? When I worked farms, like, getting out there, planting the seed and whatnot, like, at that... Maybe it's a thing, like, you're not going to feel it at that moment, but when planting season was done on this massive crop farm I worked for, like, you could finally step back and be like, it's done, we did it, like, let's go, you know? But when you're sitting in the cab of a tractor, you're just like, I'm sitting in a cab of a tractor. I'd rather be in bed because it's 2 a.m. I don't like this. I don't, you know. But, like, for the son of the farmer that I worked for, like, I mean, that was his livelihood. So he was just like, dude, we got to be out in the field. Let's go. Like, every single small thing. And even though it was all second nature, like...
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
It had to be done the best of the best, because...
That's buy-in, you know? Yeah. Like, is it a job? Is it something that, like, you're just checking the boxes because it has to get done and it gets you your paycheck? Or is it your livelihood? And it could be your livelihood and you not own the farm, you know? Like, right. You don't have to be the son of the farmer for it to be your livelihood.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, or, you know... Well, let's just take... Here's an interesting one. Vacuuming every day when you've got golden doodles that shouldn't shed, but they do, so you have tumbleweeds blowing around. And you buy robot vacuums to vacuum for you. Like, keeping the house clean in those, like, during those chorings, but at the end of it all, you can at least have pride that you have a clean house. I'm going extreme here, not Paul.
No, this is great. So actually, that's a really interesting example, because we also have doodles who also shed, and we also have fur balls rolling around, and we don't vacuum. And sometimes it's kind of gross. We vacuum before guest comes over, and
didn't mean to call you out directly.
No. I wouldn't. I mean, if I didn't want to talk about it, I wouldn't have brought it up. But like, if you came over, you know, like, my garage, disarray. Our cars, shit on the floor. Backyard, stuff still left out from last summer. I'm not proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, speaking of pride, like, I'm not proud of it. And, you know, maybe I'm trying to choose my words carefully here. I'm not proud of it, but frankly, it hasn't been a priority for me.
That's where I was going to go with that next. Like, there's been other activities, circumstances, whatever, that takes precedence.
And I mean, and it's not that it won't take a priority down the road, but honestly, like, I'm rebuilding who I am from, like, the past few years, and even before Isla, you know, but especially since losing Isla, like, I'm rebuilding who I am. Mainly because before, I didn't even know who I was.
Right.
And maybe I would do some of those things because I had to do it, or I thought I had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was just checking the boxes.
Right.
And so now, I'm deliberately choosing not to do those things because my energy is better served elsewhere. And I hope down the road, that once I have everything else taken care of, then maybe I will make time for this, for the backyard and for the garage and whatever.
Right.
So yeah, that's just an interesting example because it's like and I'm not condoning, I'm not saying like, okay, you should just live in a pigsty.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like,
Pick your
life
battles.
goes on. Yeah, pick your battles. Very well put. Life goes on. Like if cleaning the kitchen is just going to, cause extra stress and make you lose sleep or whatever, like then it's not worth it. There was a reel, I think, that sums this up really well.
Okay.
It was this mom, like she's some sort of fitness influencer, and they're like, oh my goodness, like the caption was like, or the hook was, how do you prioritize fitness as a full-time working mom? And it shows her about to leave for a run, but before she leaves for the run, she sees like living room's a mess, mudroom has books and bags and shoes everywhere, laundry exploding out of the laundry room, and dishes piling up in the sink. And then she shrugs and she goes out the door. And I think that sums it up well. It's like it comes down to priorities. You got it. Jocko Willink, prioritize and execute. You can't do all the things all the time. You got to start with the number one priority and then move down the list. And I think that approach, if done intentionally, can create a lot of pride.
Right. Yeah.
And sorry if I derailed your example.
No. This was good. That took me to where I wanted to go. What are you doing? Look at that prioritization right there.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot that my mic is through my mic, not my headphones.
That's all right. So here's an interesting question after talking about all of that. Like, okay, you have to taste it, have to prioritize. When someone tells you they're proud of you for an accomplishment or doing something good, what goes through your mind?
That's a great question. I'm going to give you two answers.
I'll tell my reason for asking after.
My first answer is the actual answer to your question. And that's, I feel good. I feel great. Like, especially if it's somebody that I care about, whose opinion I care about. I'm like, yeah, like it bolsters me up. It is gratifying.
Right.
And encouraging. Now, the second answer, which isn't an answer to your question, so I guess it's just a statement.
Classic.
So, Nate Turner, whose episode will be dropping shortly.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, and he makes a comment that we don't get to touch on in the episode, but then it was sitting with me, and so I had to go back to him in email. And he said, I never tell my son I'm grateful. I never tell my son I'm proud of him. I tell him I'm grateful for him. Because when you tell your kid you're proud of them,
what does that lead to?
It risks leading to them doing it to please you, doing it to chase those words. And if they never
Yeah. So you are answering my question and going to my reason.
Okay.
You're going one step ahead.
Okay. You must have done that thing that put us back into sync.
Right.
Since we were not out of sync, or we were out of sync earlier today.
We share a brain.
But yeah, so
everybody.
Was that?
I said we share a brain because that's the point I wanted to get to. Was it risks leading to child, even the grown-up adult, only seeking that validation and not doing a task or an accomplishment for their own sake or their own good, which risks leading to the bad pride of they do it so that way they can show everybody else how much better they are than everyone else around them.
Yeah, and that can even manifest in outside of words. For example, Evie just graduated from one swim class to the next on yesterday. And she was so proud. And I was so tempted to say, I'm proud of you. But I didn't. And I never had a good alternative until Nate's response. And that was saying, I am grateful for you. And I was like, finally I have an alternative I can use instead of it. But anyway, my temptation in addition to that was to take her to get ice cream. And I'm not saying getting ice cream after a big accomplishment is a bad thing per se.
Right.
But that is what we did whenever like we scored a goal or whatever in soccer growing up. And that was fun and that was awesome. But the challenge there is the same as telling your kid that you're proud of them. And that is that it moves the goalpost from working hard to scoring the goal to help your team win or to excel at the sport or whatever it is for those reasons, or like, oh, I'm going to do this to get the ice cream cone, you know? And also, honestly, getting the ice cream cone is just another manifestation of your parents or whoever it is bestowing their pleasure upon you. Because, I mean, you're not buying yourself that ice cream cone, typically. It's like, it's...
So, let's pause here for a second. Like, how do you... There's two things I want to get into. I want to go over this one first. Because, like, as adults, like, you should reward yourself for, like, accomplishing big things or to help you relish in that. And that it's okay to, like, you know... Let's take, for example, my younger brother. He's in law school, and he's like, as soon as I'm out of law school, if I get the grades I want to, I'm doing this.
Yeah. So
it adds a motivation.
I wouldn't say... Yeah, I wouldn't say you should, but you can. And to that reason, but it's different when you are setting that goal, you know?
Right, but how do you...
You're giving yourself an external motivation because you know you need a little extra, you know.
Well, let's just say, like, Austin's doing that for motivation, but, like, for me, it would, or having, like, if I do this, I'm gonna buy a new truck, like, honestly wouldn't have, like... that great of an impact on the amount of effort or of myself I put towards something that I already want to accomplish, right? So, like, I accomplish it, and it's like, I need to do something to show myself, like, that I guess, for me, in a sense, it's like, not to allow myself to not be satisfied with accomplishments, you know, like, run the risk of, it's never enough, no matter what I do, but it's like, you know, like, I did this. So that's, like, why like, I don't know. I'll spontaneously, like, after I accomplish it, like, I just did that. I think I'm going to buy myself a steak dinner in downtown Minneapolis tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I think there is definitely a place for setting yourself an extra reward to look forward to and for celebrating your accomplishments. Because what are you doing? It's not so much about the steak that you're buying yourself. It's like, yes, I mean, that is great and it's gratifying and it's tasty. I hope you went to Butcher's Tail.
I was trying to remember the name. I couldn't. I wanted to drop it.
Yeah. Though maybe they changed the name.
I think it's still the Butcher.
Anyway, it's the one on Hennepin and it's so good.
So good.
We got the Wagyu last time.
Yeah.
We got a few ounces of Wagyu. Like... and then we got the normal Minnesota grown steak, which is just amazing. But yeah, anyway, I digress. Maybe we should take Nate there when he's in town.
Ooh.
I feel like the important part of that practice is that you're taking the time to kind of like memorialize and celebrate your accomplishment. You're taking the time to punctuate it, you know? And I don't know, like, I
guess, like, the big part of the question is like, how do you do that with kids, you know? Like, obviously, it's like, you did a good job, let's get ice cream to celebrate. But like you said, you run the risk of, I'm only going to do this because I know I get ice cream when I do something like this. So how do you...
Yeah. I don't pretend to have answers to that. But, I mean, I think that's one thing, is that you do shake it up, you know? If it's the same thing every time, then they come to expect it.
Right.
And if they know that it's there, then yeah, like I would love to get a psychiatrist on here and talk with them about it. But my guess is that for us, setting those rewards as extra motivation is okay because we've already bought into that goal. And maybe in parallel, the same can be done with your kids, in that like if they've already committed to this goal and it's just a matter of like I want to do this, I just don't know how, or I keep struggling or whatever, then it's like, okay, well, what else can we do
Right.
to help you? And maybe that's a tool that could be used, but it's a tool that they buy into on top of what they're already doing.
Right.
But I don't know, but it is kind of gray area, because you're the one providing the reward most likely. But so to answer your question though about like how do you, what was your question?
How do you teach them that it's okay to celebrate without leading them to always expect the reward or which would risk leading them to only doing things due to?
So, okay, this is what comes to mind. Two things. One is, I mean, honestly, like I was tempted to take Evie to go get ice cream last night, but she was so proud, and she was so proud to tell her mom about it. And she's looking forward to starting the next class. And she told her daycare provider today, I'm going from glider 3 to pro 1, and I'm going to learn new skills. Like, I don't want to ruin that by like throwing some superficial celebration. Like, she's getting enough gratification out of it on her own.
Right.
And this is the second thing that came to my mind.
She's recognizing that she did it. Like, it's because she grew through that class. And now because of her efforts.
Yes, absolutely. And it was a struggle. I think from those who've listened to earlier episodes probably remember her in dance last year. And some of the struggles we went through then, and how like even just to finish a term, to finish this season was hard.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite that bad with swimming, but man, there were days where she did not want to go swimming, and she was like not improving, and they were changing the teachers every week. But she kept going back, and she kept doing it. And every time she got in the pool, she tried hard, and she listened to the teacher, and it was so cool to see. And she earned that, and now she gets to reap those benefits.
Right.
And that's like one of those things is like, you're talking about how do you teach kids to take pride? It's like, they just got to experience it. And it's going to suck until they do, but it's something that they have to put effort in. But anyway, the second thing I was going to say, that was 1.5. The second thing I was going to say was, I think where it would be really cool to do celebrations is at the moments that they least expect it. Like, for example, maybe on one of those days where she didn't want to go swimming and then she went swimming anyway. Like, maybe next time that happens, I'll take her to get an ice cream. It's like, hey, you really didn't want to go back today, but you did it anyway. And, I think you should treat yourself. Like, you should treat yourself. I should treat you. Like, because that was hard and you did it. And you should be proud of yourself.
Right.
And here's just an extra little celebration. So celebrating the effort as opposed to the accomplishment.
There we go. That's why haven't I ever thought of that? No, that's I mean, yeah. It's just a small shift of focus because it's you couldn't have the result without all of that effort. And so
So I want to go back to your example with your nieces and nephews, and then maybe we can fit this in before we wrap up.
Yeah.
So you use the example of
choring,
putting away dishes, right? What?
Choring.
Yeah. And it's your, so you believe that they should take more pride in, let's just use that a specific example of putting away dishes, cleaning and putting away dishes. Is that right?
It's more complicated, but we'll simplify it down to that.
Okay. I mean, do I have a sufficient enough understanding of the situation, or what? Is there a key piece I'm missing?
No, it's for the sake of the argument, I'll go with that.
Okay. So why is it important to you that they take pride in doing that?
I don't know if we have enough time to go through it all.
Yeah, maybe we
don't. I mean, there's a lot. All right. I can spin this in some very interesting ways. Like, let's take, for instance, it's Grandma's dishes. If I don't treat them right, Grandma's the one that suffers.
Yes. So
I need to be
teaching them that,
and proud that Grandma trusted me with cleaning her dishes.
So on the one hand, we have to recognize that our actions have consequences, and if we don't treat it right,
there's an impact
somebody else's
to either
things.
myself or someone else.
Yeah, I understand that, and I also am hearing that you're leaning on that family piece too. Like, this is my grandma's, and I care about my grandma. So I wonder if
that's what I said. There's a lot of stuff going on, but for the sake of the argument,
and also it sounds like, I mean, you want them to take pride in what they do. One, in that specific example, because it's somebody else's things, and it's important to take care of somebody else's things. But two, because to take pride in something is, like, I'm guessing here, and tell me if I'm wrong, but is much more fulfilling and rewarding than just to do it willy-nilly. Is that maybe a piece of it? Like, I mean, because I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and I could be way off mark.
Yeah, and I have to remember what we've gone through. I think part of it is just everything they've experienced in life has been traumatic,
Yeah.
And so that has a big part in the way they act and what they do. But being able to see in those small things, I did this and I did it for myself, breaking that cycle of seeking the attention or the gratification from those over me. Because I don't think they've ever tasted that. And because of where they're at in life now, it's always been the seeking it because they get that gratification from parents.
Yeah. So there are three things going through my head, and we'll see if I can remember all three by the time I'm through them.
Write it down.
One is something I've heard, and that's something, and I could be butchering this, but it's something along the lines of we have to give our kids their identity until they can discover their own.
Right.
And I say that tongue in cheek because I don't want to insinuate that we're going to teach them, tell them what to think and feel. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's if they don't have anything else to believe in, then it's hey, this is in this house, we take care of our things.
Right.
And we take care of our things and whatever your reasons are. But I think always having a why, that's important. Two is, and it kind of goes along the lines of giving our kids identity until they can find their own, is you have to show them how to take pride.
Right.
So if you can't make them put away the dishes and expect them to take pride in that, because at that point it is just a chore, it's something that they have to do. Mm-hmm. But if you go and you're okay, hey, I know this is kind of tricky. I didn't want to put away dishes when I was a kid or whatever it was. It's but you know what? Let's do this together. And you're and kind of do the Stephen Covey thing. It's hey, how's this place look right now? With the dishes everywhere and whatever. It's don't even tell me, but just make note of it. And then you work together, you clean together, you put everything away together. And then you sit back and you're now how does it look? Now how does it feel? And then, because it's kind of I don't know, teaching a kid to ride a bike is they can't ride a bike on their own at first. So you push them along until they pick up enough speed and enough courage to do it on their own. And it's sort of the same thing. And maybe you're even going to be doing that with your older nieces and nephews because they haven't had that modeled for them yet.
Right.
Or maybe not. And here's the test. Do I remember the third thing I was going to say? Identity, Covey. Yeah. Oh yeah, I lost it. So
it's all good. No, and the identity part, as you're talking about that, I was just reflecting on my own life, from the bad experiences, that we went through from our teenage years to when we were in our 20s. I shared it. Oh, go ahead. No, if you remember, go ahead, shoot it out.
Oh, okay. And so the third thing is, and maybe it's contrary to my first point, but it's what is important to your nieces and nephews? How do they identify themselves as? Right. And maybe, I'm not saying you have to answer that on air, but maybe if you can help them lock into that and lean into that, it's okay, and that could be something as simple as Evie for a long time is I don't like pizza. It's I am somebody who doesn't like pizza. That's how And I couldn't, and if I was saying like, oh yeah, no, pizza is great, then that's like a threat on her identity, right? And that's kind of like a silly example, and now she likes pizza. But the point being is like, if you can help them identify those things that are important to them and then tie that into whatever those responsibilities are that they have around the house, then it is aligned with who they are, and then maybe they will be more likely to take pride in it. I don't know. I'm hypothesizing because I haven't experienced that.
It's a good hypothesis, but like, I don't even know like how it flipped inside of me, Paul, because part of me can relate just from everything we've gone through in our teenage years to our 20s. And like after I moved back to Minnesota, like I found myself being like a yes man, or like craving that gratification from others and just wanting to be wanted rather than being my own person. And so I honestly don't know like when it changed, when it flipped, but it was just like, okay, like now I have my own goals that, okay, yeah, some of them rely on another person, because if I want to be a husband and father, obviously I need to find a wife to make that happen.
Yeah, but you have to become that person that attracts the type of wife that you want. So that goes back to you.
So, like, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't know. I can't pinpoint, like, when it switched, when it changed. Like, even to a point, like, I've told you this, but hearing the words "I appreciate you," depending on who it's from, have no meaning to me anymore. Like, if it's family or friends, like, obviously it has meanings, like from coworkers or my boss. Like, I appreciate you for doing this. It's like, I did it because I wanted to. Like, so I don't know. Maybe I swung the wrong way. But like hearing "I'm proud of you" or "I appreciate you," like going back to like your email with Nate, like I think it's important that we find the right way to communicate that with each individual child. Like Evie could want to hear, and Felicity could want to hear like "I love you" more than "I appreciate you." And that's all they need. Whereas like someone else would need the "I appreciate you" over "I'm proud of you," because that instills, or "I'm grateful for you because of XYZ. Like then they understand more rather than "I'm proud of you." Like,
yeah, I would argue every kid needs to hear the words "I love you," and that they can't hear it too often.
I'm not saying don't, but I'm saying to hear "I love you" like over "I appreciate you" or "I'm grateful for you" is, like, to me, that's the same. I know "I love you" has way more, but like, I mean, in replacement of like "I'm proud of you," there's going to be other phrases to say to each kid, and it's not going to be the same to each one of your kids. Like Liam's like you could say "I'm grateful," but there might be another one that really strikes home to him to show. So you might be having to say "I love you," "I'm grateful," "I'm this about you," you know, just,
and you're not a poo-poo head.
Exactly. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I'm not a dad, so I can't really speak too much on the matter. But
yeah, but me, I mean, you're already dealing. You're already
experiences.
Yeah, you're already dealing with stuff dads deal with your nieces and nephews, man. So yeah, you're getting a little sneak peek.
Yeah, true.
You know, two thoughts, and then we should probably wrap up. One is, I wonder if it's possible to take pride in something you do if you don't take pride in who you are.
That was one of the points I wanted to eventually get to as well.
We might have to have a round two.
I don't know if you can, honestly.
Yeah. And two, well, to piggyback on that is like, the more that you show them, like, and this is insinuating, like me assuming that that's the problem, which it may not be, but the more that you show them that they are loved and valued, which I know you do by spending quality time with them and connecting with them and giving them the time of day, then the more that self-worth and pride in self will build up. The second thing was, I don't know how this would work with y'all, but it might be worth sitting everybody down in the house and be like, let's talk about, like, let's go around the room and see, like, what is important to everybody.
Yeah.
About how how things run in this house. Like, what things do you value? And let everybody, from oldest to youngest, have a say. Even if like little Craig values coloring books, I don't know, like, yeah, monster trucks. Like, that's great, And then when everybody's sharing, then you can find common interests or like common enough things and be like, okay, then like let's work together to make that happen, and like here are some of the things that can we all agree to this, and then that's one way that you get buy-in, and that's another Stephen Covey thing, and we've done that to a certain extent here and there, not like superficially,
Right.
and I want to do it more officially now that Evie's getting older. Sarah and I have definitely done it, but yeah, that was just another thought.
Yeah, appreciate that.
For sure.
I need to hear all these things as I continue my journey towards fatherhood from guys like you in the trenches.
Yeah, well, you're just as much in the trenches with your nieces
I know,
and nephews.
but it's also different.
It is. I'm curious. How do you feel about like trying to do something from this call regarding your nieces and nephews, and then telling us how it goes?
Let's give it a month. I'd have to figure it out, but
okay,
just see what would be best from those two.
Okay, I'm invested now, bro. We'll just have to do periodic check-ins and see how they're doing. If they're, putting dishes away nicely, or if they're throwing them against the wall, like in Annie. Cool beans. Yeah, this was good topic. We kind of went all over the place.
We did, and like I said, like there was that next part I want. We'll have to follow up maybe next duosode if you want to make it a series. But can you have pride in what you do if you don't have pride in yourself? And
yeah,
I don't know if you can.
Yeah, that might be good follow up. All right, hey, yeah, thanks for the topic, Andrew. Thanks for bringing this. You want to wrap us up?
You always do the wrap up.
I wrap up the guest episodes and my episodes. This is your duosode. You wrap us up. You take us home, big boy.
Oh boy, on the spot. So from all of us here, well, I guess just all of us being Paul and myself, I hope my thoughts, questions, our conversation sparked some reflection in your own life on this topic. Maybe you have some thoughts and ideas of your own. Please share them. I'll take anything I can get at this point. And if we hit anything like just dead wrong, call us out. But in the meantime, make sure you like, subscribe, follow us. Hope you enjoy the new reels we're putting out. We're making changes little by little, good ones. So I hope you all can appreciate that. But thank you for tuning in. And until next time.
Toodaloo. All right.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Paul,
everybody. Thanks,
thank
Andrew.
You all
right, peace.